Welcome to Vilcabamba, the Underbelly. In this video, the channel will discuss the attempted murder of an elderly couple after terminating their Gardner of 13 years. Sources indicate it took place in 2022 to 2023. Another elderly couple was placed in a Quito rest home after their assets were seized. Another couple were victimized. And finally, a 6-year-old man was poisoned in a Vilcabamba restaurant in 2022. Let us briefly explain scopolamine and review transitional spaces where exposure can occur. Like many criminal acts, there is no police report or publication. People who have reported the recent home invasion said the police showed no interest and took no report. And why would they? The channel heard that there's a law that if one inhabits another's land for 15 years, they become the owner. Squatters do have rights in Ecuador. Again, like most things in Ecuador, accurate information is concealed. So the effects of scopolamine. Can it cause brain damage? Yeah, it causes short and long-term memory loss by blocking the receptors in the brain, interfering with learning and memory. The combination of profound amnesia, suggestibility, and erasure of one's will makes it dangerous. A gram of devil's breath powder is enough to kill someone who takes it. Even lower quantities can cause hallucinations. People can experience a hypnotized state that leaves them vulnerable to sexual assault, rape, and other violations, resulting in long-term emotional damage that can be incredibly harmful to the victim. Here are some typical examples of transitional spaces where scopolamine exposure can take place. Caretakers. This is a particularly common tactic where we've seen a lot of stories where the caretakers are actually poisoning the people they're taking care of, and eventually they learn the person's story and maybe they're isolated, they don't have family, and they end up poisoning them. They present a document to them under this hypnotized state, and then now poof, they've got their assets. Taxi drivers, particularly with luggage. Hotel staff, bar or restaurant staff, people who befriend you and invite you over to their house. A stranger handing you something on the streets. In Cuenca, there was an incident in the last year where I believe 2 or 3 people were collapsed on the street in the daytime because of somebody handing them something, a map or whatever, that had scopolamine on it. Ecuadorians and some expats, whether maids, security guards, gardeners, or others who inhabit your land, could be dangerous. They could be positioning themselves to take the property through several proven tactics. For example, with scopolamine, have you sign a legal declaration giving them full control of your assets, which you will not remember. Expats have then been placed in rest homes in Quito, as they now own your assets. A woman, we'll call her S, has been going through this nightmare for years as assets are sold off through having an incapacitated spouse sign and thumbprint a declaration. The fraud may be concealed until asset and repossession start taking place. Notaries are involved in many of these frauds, exactly like the real estate fraud. An expat in Cuenca in 2022 reported scopolamine robbery to the police. They treated me like I was a criminal, like, what's wrong with you? They didn't understand. I couldn't tell them what the people look like. So let's talk about the couple that were devil snared by their gardener. After terminating their gardener for 13 years for unknown reason, this elderly couple became very ill. The gardener, acting as their friend, had them admitted into a Aloha hospital. But the plan was foiled when another Ecuadorian figured it out, showed up at the hospital, and explained that they'd been poisoned through some food products by the gardener and needed to leave the hospital because they were not safe there. The gardener planned the murder with at least one other person at the hospital. The couple's partial recovery took at least 6 months. The channel doesn't have any further details. If anyone knows more about this or any other cases, please add additional information. Another couple was poisoned and rehoused in a nun-operated retirement home in Quito, where their house and property were seized. The loss of memory combined with old age, fragility, and no family or support system outside of Ecuador makes a perfect crime. Never tell anybody you don't have family, or you're estranged from your family, or no one knows you're there or anything like that, because this is absolutely the opportunity that they're looking for. An expat man in Ecuador, in Vilcabamba actually, met a woman in the town square in 2022. They had lunch. He recalls her messing with the condiments on the table. He woke up 14 hours later on his bed with no possessions. In this case, the apartment owners, the Ecuadorians, may have been involved. Identical to violent home invasions, there's no reports, investigations, or statistics, just an endless loop of concealment. Links are in the description.